Welcome to the LivBtr podcast. I'm Erica Spiegelman, addiction and wellness specialist and author, and along with me, I have my co-host, Jay Siano, a New York-based serial entrepreneur, business scaling expert, and wellness aficionado. We are here to inspire, encourage growth, and most importantly, to live better. Welcome to the LivBtr podcast. Today we have on Jen Hirst. She's a full-time working mom of 2 kids and a sober coach who is helping women regain their health, their sobriety, and putting them on a path of wellness. Welcome to the show, Jen. Welcome to the LivBtr podcast. I'm Erica Spiegelman.
I'm Jay Siano.
And we are co-hosts of this LivBtr podcast to help everybody push themselves to live 1% better every day. And today we have Jen Hirst, who is a sober coach and helps women regain their lives, reclaim their lives, and get sober. And also she helps people just explore what life would be like without alcohol. And so we're going to have a really amazing conversation today since Jay and I always, Jen, welcome to the show, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me here to talk with you and your audience. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're thrilled because obviously, I have my license as an addiction counselor and I write books on that. And I've been sober 15 years myself, just in case you don't know.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And Jay recently this year has stopped drinking completely.
Oh, awesome.
His journey has probably been a little different than yours and I, because I think from what it sounds like, you stopped and have been working now in the field and helping others the same. And Jay's been, Jay can tell you, but really an incredible, I love to be able to have the contrast of everybody's different journeys and paths towards a better life. Yeah. And so we always love talking about this. So.
Yeah, I love talking about it too. And it's so crazy because congratulations you both on your sobriety. And that's why I love to, no matter where you are, we're all in the same boat. And that's why I love to hear other people's stories too and just how they did it because no story is the same. And it's the one thing I was so nervous to talk about. And I was in the sober closet for 4 years. I didn't talk about it. I didn't think I was supposed to, but I felt like I had so much pent up in 4 years that when I did the breakout post, like I call it my coming out post, it just like flowed out of me. And I'm just like, and then I couldn't stop. And it was I like to think of my sobriety and recovery as 2 really important dates was the day I got sober, which is April 24th, 2013. And then the day I came out of the closet, which was September 7th, 2017, because that really changed the trajectory of my life and my career. Mm-hmm. And I can't say that I'd be here. I mean, I would definitely not be talking with you 2. I would definitely not be talking to the hundreds of women that I converse with in my membership and coaching programs and just the amazing people I've met. And I can't say I would be anywhere near confident in my sobriety if I didn't. It's so crazy because Mel Robbins has this quote that says, you're one decision away from a completely different life. I mean, one decision from not drinking, one decision deciding to come out on social changed my entire life. So I like to boost women's confidence and help them to feel better and more confident and own this choice. Right. And be so freaking proud of yourself because when you do so, then you're also encouraging someone else to maybe question their relationship and also to help them feel better. So it just opens that conversation, which I am so freaking excited to see. And it's such a great time and to look at your drinking and also to just really question what you're doing and how you feel when you drink. Right. So I couldn't be more excited.
So 2 questions, and I don't want to necessarily tie them together because they're both interesting and important. But 1, what made you get sober in 2013? And then 2, why did it take 4 years to actually spread the good word?
Yeah. What made me get sober? So I get that question a lot. Like, what was it for you? And I can't say it was one thing. It was a bunch of different things. It was relapsing. It was trying and failing. I went to 3 inpatient stays. I was really deep. We all have our own rock bottoms. And my rock bottom was I was kicked out of my house. I had just married my husband. I came out. He didn't even know about my drinking throughout our whole courtship. And I came out as an alcoholic basically a couple days after we got married. And it was many different things of going to outpatient, going to my first AA meeting, getting a sponsor, trying and failing and picking myself up, trying something new, getting my second DWI, drinking mouthwash, drinking rubbing alcohol, all of these ways that I tried to control it and felt that there was really something wrong with me, that I couldn't control an addictive substance. Little did I know that alcohol was a drug until 4 years after I got sober. I didn't even realize that it was all of those things that led me to the point of losing almost everything. As someone who came from a great family, I came up from a perfectionist family. My parents rarely drank. My grandfather was an alcoholic, but they rarely drank. And so as someone who could achieve things and I couldn't do that, it just broke me. And so having all of these things and then losing them one by one from not being able to control it and going back out until it got to a point where I felt myself dying. And I knew I was putting so much pressure on my heart that I was in detox my final time. My parents took me there after a blackout and I had blown a 0.34 and that scared me, but it was to the point where I had been doing that for well over 2 to 3 years. And how much closer did I get to really, really death? And so it was from that moment forward that I just said, I'm done.
Anytime that I hear about people dealing with alcohol, I'm so curious, like how did it kind of get out of control? Like, what were you drinking? You talked about mouthwash and other things that are extreme, nothing I've experienced, but I'm sure the community, everybody has a different experience. So what was it? Did you start with social drinking with your friends and feeling great? And then it got to a place that you just had a bottle of vodka under your sink? Or tell me a little bit more about that.
I mean, really from when I first noticed that I might have a problem to when I got sober, it was about 10 years. And so I know the exact pinpoint where the switch happened was when my second boyfriend wanted to go on a break. And I was living with guys at the time in college. I was 21 and they said, take this. And it was Adderall. They're like, you're going to feel amazing. And I was so heartbroken over my first boyfriend that I'm like, I don't want to feel this. I feel awful. And so I said, what the hell? I usually didn't do drugs. Little did I know alcohol was a drug. I said, what the hell? I'll just do it. And I felt amazing. As Adderall does. I dyed my hair. I stayed up all night. I said, this is the best decision ever. But then that ingrained in my mind, oh my God, I can take away any hard thing with alcohol. I never have to feel pain again. And so it really ramped up that year that I started drinking before going on a date. To calm my nerves. I started drinking when I was working too much. I'm a workaholic. I started drinking to relax. I started drinking anytime I got nervous or when I would talk to a boy. And then I'd make a bad decision because I drink too much. And then it just slowly progressed to where I could not stop. It became such a small habit at first. And I did the quote unquote normal drinking in high school and college. It was all fun, no drinking by myself. But the more that it happened, the more I became dependent on it. And then to where I needed it even to feel normal, to even offset my shakes. I couldn't even fill out my license application after my wedding because my hand was shaking too much and I couldn't read my writing. So I took the application home, drank, filled it out, went hungover, actually still drinking to the DMV on the last possible day that I could get it done to change my name. And I took my picture and I had to live with that for, 5-10 years. But that was only what I knew. And so, it was very progressive, but it didn't happen quickly. It happened slowly over time, but me questioning, I think I have a problem. I was starting to do things and really regret what I was doing. I was starting to black out and not remember. Yeah. And it got really scary. And, but I'm very tenacious and I'm very persistent. So if you give me something, I'm going to prove you wrong, and I'm going to do everything I can to prove that I can do this without anybody knowing, because image was so important to me, that no one knew what was going on, not even my husband.
Yeah. And to live, and my drinking was just like, it sounds similar to yours. And when Jay asked that, it's like, I already know the answer, because it's like, some of us are genetically more predisposed for having like a biological actual reaction to it. So the shakiness inside. I write in my book, Rewired, in the beginning, how I would lay in bed at night before I went to treatment to, how am I going to get married and walk down the aisle and give him my hand when my hand's shaking? I wrote it in the book. That was a fear of mine. I would stay up all night thinking, how am I going to get pregnant? How am I going to do this? Because it really took over that cycle. Like it's so easy. It's people imagine it's hard, but it's super easy how it happens. Like it's really easy. It's just an endless cycle. And then you feel the shame, and then you drink again, and then you feel the shame and you drink again. And there's nothing else to really fix anything but more alcohol. So it's like it never stops until you stop,
Yeah, that was my experience too. I don't think it's difficult to fall into that situation at all. I actually think so many people I know are in that situation but won't admit it.
Yeah.
Which is even, it's one of those things where, for me, I stopped drinking completely, the last day of 2022, but for the last 3 years leading up to that, I was removing alcohol for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months at a time for several years, and just changing my relationship with it completely. And the minute I started doing that, I was like, oh my God, like I feel something, like this is weird, and actually sitting with my feelings as opposed to trying to just numb myself, which is exactly what you just described. So, I think that unfortunately, alcohol is marketed so well to all of us at such a young age that it's just, hey, shitty things happen, but you don't have to really deal with them. Just have some of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm so proud of you, Jen, for being able to, stop betraying yourself, to speak your truth, to stand up. And I know Jay and I have had these conversations about holding yourself accountable through telling other people. And I think, there's sometimes I tell my clients, there's a small, and many people are like, yeah, so of course, there's a small, like piece in us that wants to maybe not call ourselves out, just in case we want to drink with someone else again, or just in case we don't want to like fully go on the record of being sober, and I think when you out yourself, and you have to kind of walk the walk, right? You have to back it up a little bit more. And like Jay, we had this conversation, Jay, about like maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when you were saying,
scary. I would never have said that. I don't drink. Literally like 6 months ago, I was not okay with it.
Yeah. So proud of you too. So it's a big progress. We can, as we, I think, become a little bit more like we identify with it more, identity changes a little bit more. We become healthy people. We have other habits that begin to support that foundation of health. So we start to see ourselves different. All of that helps. Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, everything in life gets better. It's like, I wish I knew this when I wish you guys would have called me and be like, hey, Jay, by the way, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I wish.
Well, and I think when you just said like, oh my gosh, I started to feel something. And as we all have kids of our own, I think it starts. And I've noticed the more that I can focus and work on myself, I can help my children get on this earlier. So instead of telling my daughter, stop crying, I hear parents, even my husband says a lot, stop crying. It's nothing to cry about. And then when I say it's okay to cry. Yeah. It's okay to cry. It's really important for you to cry. Be upset, scream into a pillow, like get it out. Like I want them to feel, and not telling them to shun a feeling. Because one of the movies I really like to tell my clients to watch is the movie Inside Out. Because it's all about the importance of feelings and realizing that sadness is just important as joy. And you can hold space for both, and both are equally important. And it's not a bad feeling. It's actually really, really important. And you don't need to fix it. You just need to find healthier coping mechanisms to move through it in a healthier way.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So could you tell us a little bit about your coaching and about your community, and, as an entrepreneur myself too, and I would like to hear from you from the business side too. How did that come to be, and how are you approaching it, growing it?
Yeah. And it's crazy how it happened. So I started sharing my and to answer your question from a couple questions ago, I got into it. And what made me kind of come out of the closet was I started into Beachbody coaching. I've always loved fitness, and I was looking to lose the baby weight. And after my second child, and I got into Beachbody coaching, which was out of my comfort zone. I didn't share a lot on social, but a part of being a coach, there was something about it that interested me. And part of being a coach was sharing on social. So this was in 2017, which was very awkward to me. But I told my husband, there's no way people are going to trust me unless I start sharing about this big piece of my life. And growing into, nothing wrong with AA, but that's how I was brought into it through treatment and following the program, that we were anonymous and I wasn't supposed to talk about that to protect it. So I lived in shame in the secrecy for 4 years that internally I felt ashamed of it, that we shouldn't acknowledge people in public and not talk about it, not mention that. And so it was a really pivotal point of, I just said, screw it. I'm just going to share it. And I used to hide. I used to share in my Soberversary a little snippet, not exactly what I'm celebrating. And I would hide certain people from work from seeing that post because I was embarrassed and I didn't want them to look at me differently. So this post, everybody saw. And I just said, hey, I'm Jen. I'm an alcoholic. This is why I drank. This is what I'm doing. And I threw the phone and I ran into an AA meeting and I looked and I'd had just nothing but love and support. And I felt like this huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders. And from then on, I just kind of breadcrumbed it. I just said, I thought I was supposed to help women lose weight. I then learned I'm actually supposed to help women get sober and stay sober. And so it really just kind of turned into this. And how it came about was I started sharing my story and women started messaging me and I started helping them. And they said, hey, thank you so much. I'm 30 days sober and you helped me with this, you helped me with that. And then I thought, maybe there's something here. Maybe I can do a rebrand for sobriety. And I really want to make this a fun and exciting experience for people, because when I was brought into it, it was just really, I want to motivate women to want to do this, that it can open the doors. Just like you said, it can ripple into every single aspect of your life if you give yourself the opportunity to fully experience it. And how can I help these women through this stage in a community and doing this together to help them to feel better through this process when your dopamine levels are low coming off alcohol, when you're going through withdrawals, when you may have anxiety? How can we move through this in an easier way? So I started implementing these 5 daily habits that are all proven to boost your brain, to rebuild your brain, which we know deteriorates with alcohol, to help boost your confidence, to help fill in that time that you might have spent drinking with something else, and to give you a goal to focus on for those first 30, 60, 90 days. And so what we do is doing that together in a really gradual process. And I try to do, I create habit trackers and fun challenges, and I'm with them. We coach weekly. And I just try to make this just, again, a really positive and fun and exciting thing to help them look at sobriety in a new way, that it's not something that you have to be embarrassed or be ashamed about. It's actually something that's pretty freaking cool. And here's why. So movement is a really big aspect of my groups. And I'm not talking 30 minutes of HIIT. I'm talking about 10 to 30 minutes getting outside and going on a walk.
Yeah.
The physical aspects of changing your environment, getting outside, getting that sunlight can help you sleep better at night, can help to boost your confidence and your self-esteem, to give you some fresh air. I'm talking about drinking water. Like, how much water are you drinking? Are you just chugging soda all day? Yeah. I actually have my calming tea. So talking about stress management, but I also have some water. Yeah.
Me too. I got a big
Yes.
Yes. And reading. So reading literature of of quit lit, moving your body, and then checking in for accountability. So all of these, and gratitude, actually, I forgot about gratitude, of thinking the things that you get to do in sobriety not of what you're missing out on. So I really like to reframe that mindset to have them to look at things in a new way of what do you get to do Saturday morning?
Right.
Because you didn't drink at night. So say what you did and then put, I get to wake up early and go on a run. I get to sleep in and not feel like crap. I get to remember how I put my son to bed last night. It's like those little things. One of the things we talk about, I get to remember to do my skincare routine, or I get to remember to brush my teeth.
Yeah.
It's like all of those little things. It's like, I get to remember to be the tooth fairy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I love. That's what I loved in the very beginning was being able to wash my face at night and get into bed and have a whole thing, but these are little wins when you haven't had wins like this before, and it's great. And I love
to feel.
I love that, I always talk about cognitive distortions and just, again, the language we use, we talk about a lot. And I think it's so important to, just be able to be aware that sometimes our own thoughts are what's getting in the way of our happiness. So even if you're sober, you still need to check your thoughts. You still need to, work with someone around language and how you speak to yourself. And of course, positive self-talk and all the other good things.
Yeah, that's a huge one. We actually focus on that in week 2 because I think that's so important. So there's that whole think, feel, act cycle. So how are you talking to yourself?
Yeah.
Because I really like to think of you're your own coach. You're 100% responsible for your sobriety, but that starts with how you're talking to yourself. So you are going to have to go into your brain and be your own coach and talk back to that person who's saying, no, you can never do this. No, this is going to be too hard. No, you suck. You just drank last night. You might as well, throw in the towel and do it again. No, you got to start to talk back to that. And that helps with, like you said, like affirmations, really just becoming aware of what you're saying to reframe.
It's really interesting to me that you mentioned that you were forced, for business to basically, put yourself out there leveraging social media. I did that also in 2016. And a lot of the reason that I'm sober today has to do with actually doing that. And then from there, I did some mental toughness challenges, which included.
Did you do 75 hard?
3 times. Yeah.
Oh, congratulations. I did that too.
Yeah. So 75 hard is really what started it for me of like the just removal of alcohol. But it's funny because when I was doing 75 hard, it wasn't about the alcohol to me, but it's how I discovered really how great things can be without alcohol. And it was also a way for me to like be able to tell the people with me at the event that I'm not drinking. Like I had an excuse. So they would just stop coming at me about it. They'd be like, oh, Jay's doing one of his things. And at a certain point, I didn't need that anymore. And I could just say, I don't drink anymore, or I'm not drinking and whatever. But it's fascinating because I didn't really make that connection so much until you just said it, that social media and then doing those daily tasks and then actually posting them on my stories for the last literally 3 years. I've posted every night before I go to bed, basically my checklist of how many of the things that I've done for my day. And it's been such a great accountability tool really for myself, but it's inspired so many other people to get on this lifestyle, which is really, I think, one of the best benefits of us being able to do what we do is to share it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I did the same when I was doing 75 hard. I shared it every single day and I started on a whim. But the only way that I could stay accountable is if I shared it. And if other people were holding me accountable, then I better show up, and I'm not going to back down if other people are watching me. So if you want to be accountable, and like you were saying, Erica, that what you want to protect, you keep a secret. So I totally understand that. If you want to protect and keep drinking, you're probably not going to reach out and ask for help or ask for that guidance. And I did that for many years, but it was something that I wanted to do. Something that's going to be super challenging, but in my sobriety, I wanted a challenge, something that was going to be hard in the winter months of Minnesota, during the holidays, when life is not convenient, because it's how you show up on those days when you don't want to, that's going to help prepare you for those hard moments that are coming up. And it was those daily walks outside that were the most beneficial for my stress. When I didn't have the time, those daily walks were the most beneficial because it allowed and it forced me to take a break, to get outside and just move my body and get some fresh air. So if you want to, have social media help keep you accountable, I think that's an incredible tool.
Yeah. Any way to help be held accountable. Like you said, like I just signed up for a boot camp and I'm now paying weekly and they're charging me automatically. So I was like, you know what, this will get me. I'm paying for 2 classes a week and I'm going to go. And I've already been to 3, last week I did 3 and this week I just did 1. And, but I think it's, if I just sign up for a package of a class, I won't go because they're not, it's already paid for. I can go whenever I want. Right. So the accountability even on that level is great. And then, I think just, trying like when I work with my clients is in terms of accountability, if you're trying to, I think like not everybody's ready to give up alcohol. At least I'm sure you meet people like this too, that I work with right away. And so, I'll say to them at first, like, I'm going to say something really, maybe it won't resonate right now, but I'm just going to say it because I want to help save your life eventually, that for me, what has kept me sober is putting it to death, saying, it's gone. I buried it. I grieved it. I imagined the funeral for alcohol. I buried, it's gone. Like it does not exist. There is no window cracked open. There is no door that could possibly fly open. It's not, and maybe in a year from now, maybe when I turn 50, maybe when I turn, no, it's dead. It's gone. And I think too, if you're not there yet, in terms of accountability, that's fine. But again, focusing sometimes on the wins of like, okay, well, you made it 4 days, then you made it 1 week. Then you made it 1 month, like instead of, right. I mean, there's so many other ways to kind of try and reframe how to look at this instead of feel bad about,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you can even look at sober first, your first trigger hour or witching hour and you didn't drink, right? Your first party and you didn't drink. I just have a woman message me. She's getting married in June and she got through her bridal shower and bachelorette without drinking. I'm like, oh my God, that's huge. Yeah. A sober vacation, first Saturday sober, like you can first 24 hours sober, like all of these things. And I really, really believe in celebrating everything in sobriety, especially early sobriety. Every single freaking day, do something really nice for yourself. And treat yourself, whether it could be, your favorite dessert, but it could be a walk by yourself. It could be a bubble bath. It could be just your favorite show. Right now, mine is Vanderpump Rules. It's just, I don't know what, it's just sucks me in, but it's just being intentional about that. And if you want to, yes, you can bury alcohol and do a whole ceremony. You can also write a goodbye letter to it. I've had my women do that, of just a breakup letter and saying, I'm done with you and here's why. And this is what I'm going to be gaining by not having you in my life anymore. But the tricky thing about alcohol is they're going to keep coming into your life and showing up at these places like baseball games, telling you, oh my God, this would be so nice to have at a baseball game or a concert or this and that, but you gotta that's why having a community is super important. Surrounding yourself with people who think like you and who are doing this to help support you in those times.
Yeah. And also I think creating non-negotiables are really helpful, like non-negotiable hour of solitude or movement, or, non-negotiable, I don't drink, or not, like create your top 10 negotiables or top 5 non-negotiables or something. Because I feel like in my early sobriety, like, yes, like when I went to my first wedding, I remember, saying, I'm leaving by 10:30. I told even the people the hosts, I'm so happy to come and be there for you guys, but I'm going to leave a little early. I have to get up early the next morning. I have something to do, again, having a plan and having, the non-negotiables is, I think, just preparation, routine, plan is everything in early sobriety, right? And I mean, even to this day, I really do much better, of course, with my routine. That's why I've never really gotten out of my day-to-day routine. What do you think?
Oh, I am so with you on that. I have morning routines. I am like clockwork. My body knows when to get up and I do everything just in order. But I agree. Like there's that quote, if you fail to plan to fail. And before I go anywhere, I mean, if it's just like a half hour, sure. But I usually pack, I want to get a better cooler, but I always pack a cooler. I like of a million things, snacks, nuts. I do pumpkin seeds, all of these things to help maintain my blood sugar.
Yeah.
Just, it helps my anxiety to just be prepared just in case. Like in case there's a flat tire, in case the doctor's appointment goes long. I have my nuts. I have, I have my kombucha. I have all of those things to kind of treat myself. And it's funny when I get into the car, my husband laughs because I have my coffee, then I have my water, and then I have my hydration drink. And so I'm like getting in with all my bottles.
You sound like me.
Alcohol. Yeah.
I know. I'm the same way. He's like, what do you carry in your purse? I have snacks. I have everything, because it never hurts to be prepared, and
no. And that's why I wear a fanny pack. So then you guys, it is one of the best sober toolkits, because then it never leaves your body. It just, you need your phone. It's right there. You can call. Yeah. You can get on a meeting. You can phone your accountability buddy. You can check into your membership. You need some snacks. I got those in there. You need some gum to help you with anxiety. I got that. Like all of those things, I think, is one of the greatest things to take with you.
I love it. I think that's the best tip we've heard. I mean, it's true though. It really is. There's something about helping yourself forward, and like being safe. I always say this, the biggest freedom for me was feeling safe within myself. And how did I create safety within myself? Was doing what you just said, being prepared, thinking about, is my blood sugar going to drop? What is all that? That's self-love, right? That's trying to build more and more self-love, which is the foundation, I think, for anyone staying on a healthy path. The minute, right, that we kind of fall off that, we could feel it when we get a little insecure. We've our confidence drops, which is normal, which we all have days like that. But again, how do I pick myself up and demonstrate some self-love, demonstrate that I've got this, I'm safe, going back to that again, I think all these things help.
Yeah. And it's like, what is going to help you feel better? Like, what do you need? Like, do you need to bring some snacks? It kind of brings me back to that acronym HALT. Are you hungry? Do you need to eat something? And make something with protein, not like chips.
Right.
Are you angry at something? Do you need to talk to someone? Do you need to work it out? Like a great, martial arts workout is fantastic. Yeah. Are you lonely? Do you need to call someone? Do you need to, call your mom, or go get outside, go on a walk, be where people are? Target is a great option. Are you tired? Do you need to go to bed? I think so often people are just really tired. Yeah. And you need to take a nap. I took a nap yesterday. It was great. You need to get to bed. How much sleep are you getting? And I really like to think, yes, sobriety is absolutely number one, but number two is how much sleep are you getting? It impacts so much of your tomorrow self that really focusing, that's actually what we're focusing on now in my membership, is morning and evening routines of making sure you're prioritizing sleep and getting the rest that you need so your body and your mind can repair.
That's amazing. So before we go, I just want to hear, can you tell us a little bit about the membership? What does it entail? Is it like people join all year long and you have you hop on live every week? What does that kind of look like so people can know?
Yeah. So it's a monthly membership. It's called the LHS, or Lighthouse Sobriety Membership. It's a monthly membership, so you can join anytime, you can cancel anytime. It's monthly. So you can buy a yearly membership, you can just go month to month. You obviously get a discount if you do yearly, but I have monthly coaching. So this month is all about morning, afternoon, and evening routines, because I think we can each break those into your morning, afternoon, or evening. I'm having them pick one. And then we also, what's that?
Or a monthly meeting with everybody?
A monthly coaching.
Coaching.
Yeah. And then every week we have 3 meetings that you can pick and choose. I'm not requiring you to go to every one. I'd say just pick one. And then, because movement is really important for our bodies and especially our minds in sobriety, we have 2 fitness classes per week that a couple of my instructors teach. So we have a strength and cardio session on Wednesday mornings, and then we have yoga Fridays on Friday. And then we also are going to come up with a book club to meet every single couple times a month. And then there's also Marco Polo groups. So I'm really trying to find that sense of community of how can I instill that when we can't all be together. So we have the membership, but then you're also broken up into Marco Polo groups, which is a video chat app to really get to know the other women in the group. So these are smaller groups, and they've been really transformative in my group coaching programs. So I have my membership. I then have my group coaching programs, which are more intensive. And the next one starts June 12th. It's called Lit 66. And why 66 days? Because on average, it takes about 66 days to build and create and implement a new habit.
Yeah.
And so I take women through the early process and preparing them through removing alcohol, going through withdrawals. I think it's really important to talk about withdrawals, how to move through those first few days, that first week. And then every single week we meet together for coaching. So every single week is a different topic from, like we talked about, our thoughts, think, feel, act, the power of habits, nutrition, boundaries, triggers, all of these things that can come up as you make this change in your life. And I want to do this together with everyone, while also giving you some really simple, stackable habits that we start off really slowly, that you can start right from the get-go. If you choose, you don't have to, but I recommend it at the pace that works for you. And then we're just going to get through this together, and I'll be with you every step of the way. So the membership is kind of for ongoing sobriety, but if you really want a smaller, more intimate group and really go into sobriety and improving yourself, then I really recommend the group coaching programs.
Awesome. This is amazing. Oh, I'm so grateful for you and for all you're doing for women and just anybody that wants to get sober. I mean, anybody can relate to all these subject matters, we all need to work on boundaries. We all need to work on our nutrition and our movement and, our sleep. It's an ongoing process. So I think it's wonderful that this is what we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. I like to think of it. I was just talking to another friend it's kind of like a puzzle, and all of these little pieces kind of fit together in their own unique way to help you to just feel better and live a fulfilling life all of these things play a role. The food you eat, you put into your body plays a role in how you feel. Right. Gratitude plays a role in how you look at life. Right. Boundaries play a role in how you stand up for yourself and how you take care of yourself. And so all of these things just kind of work together in their own unique way to kind of just build. It's not just meetings. Sobriety isn't just meetings. It's not just removing alcohol. It's really improving your life. Right. And so you get to a point where you don't want to drink because you feel so much better without it. And then you have a group of women there to support you and cheer you on when you might not have that support at home.
Yeah. And they need it for sure. Many people do. So thank you. Tell everybody where they could find you.
Yeah. So I really like to hang out on Instagram. So I am at Jen Lee Hirst. So JenLeeHirst. And then you can also go to my website, joinlighthousesobriety.com, for all information about my membership, my group coaching programs, and a little bit more about me. And then I also host a Tuesday women's free meeting every single Tuesday. If you want information on that, that's also on my Instagram page. So you're more than welcome to come check that out and join us there.
Amazing. So many options. And that's what's, anybody that is out there, just go to our website, check it out, see what works for you, what you could fit into your schedule. Because anything is better than nothing, just even one little thing that you change is, a win for sure.
Well, and like you say, what's 1%? What is 1% effort that I could do for my sobriety or taking care of myself today? Is that maybe right now drink 8 ounces of water, pure water, clean water, is it, you know what? I'm just going to go outside and I'm going to get some fresh air.
Any little thing,
all of it adds up.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being with us. We're so grateful you got to come on and share your time. And we hope to see you soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.